Hello, Roast Nation. It's Chris Cordani and Angie Wong here for Prime Roast. We're wearing sweaters today because, by the way, it's cold. Even in Florida, huh?
Yeah, it's snowing in upper Florida right now. It is amazing. Look, I don't mind it at all. I love the snow. In fact, I fly into snowy places because here in Florida you have summer for about 11 months out of the year. So I'm more than welcoming the snow. I wish it would come down to where I am here in Miami. Then we could really call it climate change. But for now, this is typical. It happens every 15 years or so. Enjoy it, guys. You have snow days. It's pretty. This is what winter's all about.
Well, you also braved the cold recently when you went to the Trump inauguration.
And it was so cold. Can I just tell you something? We went to the balls, all these girls wearing their Cinderella dresses and their platform shoes. I mean, they were shivering. I worked the whole entire inauguration. I barely had time to even put on lipstick. So I just, whatever I wore, I wore. But I will tell you, it was so much fun. We finally got our guy in. So everyone was celebrating. It didn't care. We don't care if it was like negative 19 degrees outside. It didn't matter. The guy took a bullet for us, right? So it could have been negative 48 outside. We would have all still been there. So we're just so happy Donald Trump is finally in the White House. And please
Honestly,
stay safe.
our guy or not, Angie, honestly, I would have voted for a piece of burnt toast over what the Democrats had to offer this year.
Well, that's saying a lot for burnt toast, which I, by the way, just had this morning prior to the show to get me going. Democrats, I've been talking about this on air for the last past few days. They don't know what they're doing. They have to regroup. You have fractions like, the AOC fractions of the Democratic Party who's still pushing for the agenda that didn't work for the last 8 years. And she's still pushing, pushing, pushing because that's who she is. She doesn't want to lose control. But at the same time, it clearly lost their election and may have lost Democratic voters for a generation. So, yeah, if you, what's that phrase? Like, when you, I can't remember. Anyway, but when you play, I'll come up with another phrase. When you play with dirt bags, guess what you become? A dirt bag. And I think that's what's happening
Exactly.
here. AOC, I can't wait to get rid of her. She's talking about running for president. You know what? I would support your race, AOC. I will donate to your race. I will endorse your race. Please run for president. I would love nothing more than that because you know what? Us Republicans, we love winning. And we know that we will win every single day, every time you open your mouth.
Oh, we have her coming up in just a little bit because she has the propensity for making a fool out of herself pretty easily. Problem is, it endears her, that kind of thing endears her to the Democrats, and that could make her a little scary because they like things like TikTok stars, and if she cackles less than Kamala Harris, she could be dangerous. But there was a complete meltdown, a series of meltdowns all week with Trump's ascension into the Oval Office. At this point, the adults have the keys to the car. The kids are very upset that they have been grounded at this point. They're upset about having their irresponsible policies overturned by executive order, and a lot more is to come. Even the mainstream media, well, of course, the mainstream media predictably melted down, and Fox put together a pretty neat compilation. You have to check this out.
The inaugural address has gone from a president saying, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, to drill, baby, drill.
Trump himself didn't have many executive orders the first time around on January 20th. So,
well, first off, Guy, he didn't have that many executive orders first time around because there wasn't that much he needed to reverse. A lot of these executive orders reversed garbage policy or reversed reversals of his sensible policy.
Yep.
He has decided to make good on his promise to be a dictator on day one.
It's a little like a cult leader who keeps predicting different.
Okay, a cult leader. This word, Angie, has been tossed around a little bit too much by the left here. Cult leader. They say, oh, the right's in a cult. Trump leads a cult, blah, blah, blah. If you see the people he is bringing into his administration, if you see the people that vote for him, that's a very wide tent in a full marketplace of ideas. The cult are the people that are calling us the cult.
Yeah, they're still inciting violence. Again, these guys still think they have free reign to speak about a sitting president this way. Well, I think there's going to be a new FCC chair coming in. We've got a lot of like things happening right now, including EOs. These guys are on their last legs talking this way. I don't think that they can carry on another 4 years thinking that's really gonna keep happening. I don't know. I think this is all they have, you guys, like Chris Hayes and all these other like lefty stars. This is all they can talk about. But you know what? It's already out of fashion. Forgetting any sort of equal time rules, the way they're speaking about Trump, it's actually against what the American people voted for. And they can't get over themselves because they think that they're better than voters. That's why they're talking this way. They think they're smarter than you. So they're going to talk down at people. It's incredible that they're still allowed any airtime. But you know what? I think the lawsuits are going to come the other way as well. We're looking forward to seeing lawfare to the left, and I'm already hearing a lot of murmurs about that. So, yeah, again, let them talk for another couple of weeks. I can't imagine that MSNBC is still going to exist with these guys on, even in a few months' time.
Well, basically, they call us a cult, but the fact is the cult leaders are telling these people to say that to dispense to the other cultists. They'll believe anything their overlords tell them.
Days for the end of the world.
It's the end of the world, Chris. That's what they're all saying. You mean it's the end of their world as leftists? They lost bigly and they still can't get over it. Look, I want them to keep losing. I want them to keep spilling this hate all over the airwaves because guess what? It's just going to make the middle stay away from the left and Republicans that much stronger because you know what we're doing? We're responding to bullies. That's all this is. This is high school, you guys. Not even high school. This is elementary school. These guys are stuck in elementary school and they think they're the teachers. They think they're going to be the abusive teachers talking to all us little underlings. You know, we're second graders to them, Chris, because they're stuck in some sort of weird emotional cycle. I wish they would grow up and realize that more than half of the country voted for Donald J. Trump.
Oh, again, they'll always be upset about
Oh,
losing power and they'll come up with anything. They'll actually find anything against anybody who's working with Trump right now to denigrate them. The most famous is that stupid the claim that the left is saying that Elon Musk pulled a Nazi salute, or shall I say, National Socialist Party salute, out to a crowd when he was actually doing the "I give my heart to you" and throwing it to them. But you should have heard the intelligent commentary.
I like, you're going to do a Sig Hail, you're going to do a Hail Hitler, or their rebrand a Roman salute from behind the presidential seal of the United States of America?
Is she asking us this? Oh no, I know she's phrasing it in a question, but she's United States of America. She usually does that. The way she says that, she likes to separate the words to make herself sound a lot more intelligent. But again, she always sounds like a child asking the adults or demanding the adults let her stay up past 8:30.
Yeah. Well, I think there were some video clips of her doing the exact same hail.
We're gonna play that, Angie, but check this out. There's a bit more from her that makes her even more annoying than normal.
It's on.
Ooh!
It's on.
Fear, fear, tremble, tremble, it's on. Oh, AOC is coming after everybody. She's coming after all of us. Oh my.
It's on. What does that mean? Is that a throwdown? Because back where we're from, AOC, Queens, New York, when you say it's on, I'm meeting you outside, me and my crew.
That's what
I
she's
don't
saying.
think she could throw down. Look at her. She's like little Bambi there.
Oh, she's gonna bring the
she's talking
squad.
tough. She's
It's
no
the,
J-Lo from the block, that's for sure.
it's the squad versus Angie's crew. There we go.
Let's go.
Putting the smackdown. Now, I always thought it went like this. You had to be served before it was on. Am I correct? You're
No.
supposed to be served. So if
No.
you've been served, then you turn back and say, okay, then it's on.
No.
She did this out of order, right?
I don't know who she thinks she's talking to. I mean, it's really funny to me. I'm going to start doing TikTok videos about her. I don't think anyone does any TikTok videos about AOC. Not enough anyway. I would love to troll this woman because she talks like a little 2-year-old talking down at us, like we got to listen to her. I think her time's up too. Same as MSNBC. They're all the same cut. There
I
we
always
go. What
say,
is
here we
that,
go.
lady? She flying. She flying. Uh-huh. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
keep it up, lady.
Now we know she's not really doing that. We're not morons. The fact is, anybody can take anything out of context and put it into what they want to make you think. The problem is, people fall for this, and it's almost embarrassing at this point. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is she trying to be a gaslighter, or was she gaslighted and just spreading it around? That's the question. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't think here's something. I don't think she's all that intelligent. But remember, Joey Bananas. He was the mafia guy that always pretended he was out there and a little crazy and nutty, so he wouldn't get prosecuted.
No, that's not the case here. She's actually not that bright. She has a lot of people around her. She is an instigator. I mean, she doesn't care if she gets called out because she's laughing. She's already gotten the views. It's weird. Her success is measured in clicks, likes, and views, right? And yeah, there is a currency to that. We're all on social media. The show is on social media. And we like people subscribing. So please subscribe to Prime Roast TV, you guys. But I'll tell you, with a politician, if you're in it for the clicks, the likes, and the subscriptions, yeah, it's just a different game, right? Than versus being a politician with policies and being able to convince the majority of Americans to think your way. She doesn't do that. She makes people repel from her. And that is why we're so divisive, is because you have a fraction of America that loves her, right?
Well, these are people that also think Baby Shark was like a spectacular hit song. So that's another story for another day. There is one person that makes Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez look smart, and her name is Rashida Tlaib. And keep in mind, this woman's a lawyer, which is like her and Stacey Abrams might starting to make me think that they're handing out law degrees like they do at Sears and Roebuck or something like that. But
They
here's
do.
here is here's Rashida Tlaib going absolutely nuts over the sound immigration policy that Donald Trump put forth in his executive order. Stay in Mexico and round up the criminals.
Enough is enough. It will separate families. It would lead again to continued discrimination. It's shameful that my colleagues are giving into racist fear-mongering at the first opportunity to pass legislation.
It's always racism and fear mongering, isn't it? Even though she's the one fear mongering right now. Didn't she just do that just a little while ago? Just a couple seconds ago, she was the one doing the fear mongering. Am I correct about this?
Okay. Yeah, all right. She's entitled to her 12 minutes up there. That's fine. Let her go on and on about that. Look, I spoke with Tom Holman, my favorite, a few weeks ago, and I said, Mr. Holman, Borderzar, what can we do as citizens to help you? And he goes, well, Angie, you're a member of the press. We need to control the narrative because you know what? There are going to be photos of kids being ripped out of arms of caretakers and then brought back to their home country. There are going to be images of people being loaded onto buses. So we need to make sure that the narrative is correct and not fear-mongering that they are illegally here in the United States. It is against our own laws and constitutions for them to be here. They didn't come in the right way. And now if they wanted to come in, they can wait in line like everybody else, right?
That's right.
And
You
get
ride a roller
processed the
coaster.
right way.
You want to ride a roller coaster at the park. You don't sit on the tracks and wait for the cart to run over you. You stand in line. That's what Stay in Mexico is all about. Here's some more from Rashi.
To scapegoat our immigrant neighbors and fuel hate in our communities. I know what's going to happen. It won't just be undocumented. It'll be people like my mother who will get stopped and profiled. She have to carry her U.S. passport around.
Wait a minute. But if your mother's legal, there's going to be no problem. See, no one's going to pull her over unless maybe she's shoplifting or they suspect her of some kind of crime. That's a whole different bird. So is your mother a criminal?
Look, I'm sure someone will correct me on this. Aren't we required as U.S. citizens to carry an ID around at all times anyway? I don't know. I could please correct me if I'm wrong, but some countries do require that. I think the U.S. does as well. Look, if give me the address of your mom. Like, I almost want like the 1-800 number to flash across the screen for DHS right now, because yeah, we are at this pinnacle of time where we're calling up and reporting our neighbors. I know that sounds scary to people, but if they're here illegally, Tom Homan needs your help, right? DHS needs your help. ICE needs your help to get these people out of the country. I'm okay with it, because guess what? My husband had to wait in line 9 years. I went through like 9 years of Homeland Security checks just so that my husband could come here legally. He is a British national, and now he's here. So, those who came in and did it the right way, spent the money on immigration lawyers, did all the things, guess what? We're angry that people can just cut the line and cross over the border and receive a free Visa card and a free phone and free housing and free food and free schools on our backs. I don't mind if you came in here the right way, but if you're doing that and cutting the line, I'm going to be the first one to tell you to get back, right? And if that's what Tom Homan has to do, then let him do it. There's got to be law and order in this country. And that's why we voted for President Trump, to get that law and order back. So if she doesn't like it, that's fine. Let's call her mom. Let's find out what's going on with her mom. Let's make sure that she's here legally.
Lady, no one's going after your mom. All right. So calm it down. Here she goes. She continues on this tirade.
Are we asking people allowed to have documentation? That's what you want to turn our neighborhoods into, is militarization?
I yield the gentleman. She's just going off the deep end. By the way, we make fun of AOC. We make fun of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Seems like she knows what she's doing sometimes, as far as getting all the Twitter follows and the MySpace likes and stuff like that, or whatever the kids are watching these days. But Rashida Tlaib sounds like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when somebody's pulling her hair.
I think she sounds like that all the time. Here's the thing about members of Congress, you guys. They play it up for the cameras, clearly, but like in real life, they're actually like kind of normal. Like they're just like normal people from across the US, which is really funny to me. I got to spend some time with a lot of normal congressional members over the last few days. And it's like, we drink, we tell stupid jokes about the weather, and it's just like just being human beings. For her though, she's going to get a lot of TikTok views just for that. I can't wait for Donald Trump to get TikTok sold to a conservative person. I mean, could you just imagine their heads exploding? Forgetting Twitter, imagine us taking Twitter at TikTok as well.
They should be happy with that, though, because then you have a full marketplace of ideas. They're not going to get censored unless they threaten to kill somebody. That's another story, but they're not going to get censored. By the way, when I hear there were some great meltdowns over this week, because, again, Donald Trump had just hit the ground running, and people are just really upset over this. And this is going to be, we know Trump 2.0 is going to be a lot of fun to watch, but Trump meltdowns 2.0, they're a lot of fun. Let's go through some of the greatest hits we've seen on the internet so far. Well, these are people, by the way, lefties all over, or going to, well, I guess, was it San Francisco? There it is. Lefties in San Francisco screaming during the inauguration. Ooh, they can count. Surprised. This is what happens when you don't have a job. There's nothing to do.
It's therapy. It's group therapy for them. Guys, look, that's the least of it, Chris. If that's what they're doing, that's not even dangerous. I'm all for it. You know what? I will tell you a little story about the inauguration, right? There were activists who rented Uber cars. I didn't even know you could rent cars from Uber to drive around, right? You could rent them for $200 a week and become an Uber driver. So these activists, they came from all across the US into DC to be Uber drivers and harass Trumpers that they would pick up. And I guess they didn't think I was a Trumper, so they told me of their plans. And I'm like, oh, really?
Dirty plans.
Speak into this microphone, please. But that's how crazy they were. It was so nuts. But you know what? I was actually expecting more than that. So luckily it didn't get too violent. It was just a bunch of like high school pranks. I mean, that's who they are anyway. So
Or else it would have been on, right?
yeah, I guess they looked at me and they're like, oh no way she's a Trumper. So let's just brag about all the Trump people
That's
that we've
pretty
been
racist of
assaulting in the
them.
car.
You think about that. That's racist to those people.
Totally. It totally is. But I kind of like, okay, let's go with it. 29 minutes I was stuck in traffic with this woman. And she's like, I was going to ask her for her name. I was going to ask her for her accomplices. I was like, you're really bad at this game. You have no idea what stranger you have in the back of your car. And you're telling them about some fraud that you're committing.
Well,
Who's this lady?
let's go to some more famous, or let's say the liberals' greatest misses from this week. This one particularly nuts, and you can tell she's a psychopath or has some kind of mental issues by that look on her face. That, oh, look at me, I have something to tell you because I'm telling you how much smarter I am than you, and my glasses here are showing you that I am smarter than you. And look at my smirk. Here she is. She has this great idea to sue Donald Trump because, oh, you'll have to listen to this. It's
Guys, how do you feel about a lot of us blue voters filing, I don't know if it would be a civil suit or a class action suit against Donald Trump and his minions for the stress and the anxiety and the
you can feel the anxiety in her voice and throat right now too. It's just too much.
What would be the legal basis of her suit?
Oh, let's
You
hear it.
kind of need
effects on
that.
our mental health and physical health and well-being, along with the suffering of our relationships that Donald Trump has caused us.
No, Donald Trump didn't cause any problems with your relationships. You, my dear, are toxic, and you just got upset because things didn't go your way, and then you caused the problems with your own relationships. Stop blaming Donald Trump for everything.
I don't even understand what she's talking about. I don't know. I've drafted legal documents before. Like, what would your claims be? Mental, exhaustion, or like, what would you actually? I mean, look, do it, lady, do it. I would love to read that suit, and I would love to see every single judge in America toss it out. Class action or a civil suit? She doesn't even know what she's talking about. And I'm sorry, that face filter. Oh boy, it
Yeah.
makes her look like a Dr. Seuss character. Don't you think of that? Like I think of the Grinch when I see that.
It makes her look like a demented version of that Miss Frazzled, that chick that was leading the white women for Kamala Harris, that Zoom meeting. Remember her? That's like
Oh
we hadn't heard a peep out of her since because she claimed she was getting death threats. But you know what? One less annoying person on the internet is much better. This one, uh, well, she's almost a stereotype of these toxic left leaning women, or sorry, far left leaning women, because a lot of people on the left aren't that bad, but people on the far left like this one, they're just you people voted for Trump. We're going to hate you forever and blame Trump for that. Yeah, okay, get over yourself, lady. And this one's even worse. This one's like you can she's like nearly sobbing over this, but this is an actual threat.
This is going to be a personal message to anybody in America because it hasn't even been 24 hours yet since that man is now in the office, and how many things he's already fucked up. Yeah, either put a bullet between his eyes or mine.
I think the choice is clear, right?
Oh boy, we really do have like a mental issue in our country. I can't believe she would make a video like that. Where's the FBI?
Well, the FBI doesn't come after people that threaten Trump.
Secret
Don't you know
Service.
that already?
Sorry.
No, they don't do that. I don't think so. But they do come after people who threaten Democrats, especially if you're in the UK. You mentioned something that's a little off the official narrative. That's another story. People will be knocking on that door. Well, yes, you're a leftist. You can threaten all the people you want. But this guy, or whatever it was, this pronouns are I don't know. Anyway, this
Wow.
one was even worse.
Wow.
Well, maybe not as bad, but he was more annoying. So let's check this guy out, or whatever it is.
Hello, My name is Scarlett Kelly, and I am officially declaring war on the Republican Party. If you are a Republican on TikTok and you want to interact with me, you deserve to die.
Fear, tremble, tremble again.
I'm so scared. I
It's-
am so scared. I want to
we
give this
always
guy like a hair comb. What is going on, Chris? Why does he want to kill his own future? You know, this video is going to live on forever. It's like, are you really gonna, is this, no, I gotta say, these are empty threats, guys. I don't buy any of this, by the way. They're like, you know, little like armchair warriors trying to scare people. But all we're doing is just making fun of them because look how ridiculous they're acting.
Well, the mentality from us here, from the center and onward, is you wouldn't put these stupid videos on air because HR people are going to look at this and see that's the kind of person we're going to hire. The problem is that side isn't going to bother looking for a job, so it doesn't matter to them.
Oh, well, but you know, they may apply for universities. They may apply to be, you know, some sort of social worker. They're going to do something, right? Just to gain a little ounce of power so that they can keep spilling out their hate.
They quit TikTok to go to Red Note. That's what they're doing.
Is that what it is? Is that the new TikTok?
Yeah, here's a little more from this fool.
You deserve to be shot. You deserve whatever suffering could possibly come to you.
Listening to you is suffering, so I guess we deserve that.
If you are a Republican and try to start any of that kind of nonsense with me in person, you will lose your life. This is war. I am not joking.
What are you going to do? Bore us to death?
He'll probably make more. Look, this guy, unfortunately, is probably got like 76 million views on TikTok, right? Because of this crap. Now, serious question here. Is this free speech, Chris?
It is, because there is no real threat behind it, I would have to say. Yes, I know these are death threats. But the fact is, what is this thing going to do? I mean, what's he going? He's going to skip around you and make you dizzy.
I bet if you meet him in real life, you could just go like this and push him over. He is nothing. He is all just words and craziness. But that's it. You meet him in real life, you stand up to him, he'll just shrink away. I meet a lot of guys like this on the campaign trail. And it's like, you just got to like just question them one time to repeat it, and they don't get the response. Here's the thing. They're trying to bully people. That's what all these videos are about, bullying you. And then when you say, can you repeat that? They don't get the instant gratification response of scaring you. They wither off. They're little mousy people, you guys. You got to take these guys on. I hate this guy. Can we get him off the screen right now? I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, you see, here we are. It's on with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and your crew and her crew. Now it's on with this guy and his Muppets and your crew. Man, oh man, you and your crew are going to be really, really
You're
busy
part of my
after
crew,
all
Chris.
that. Oh yeah,
Come
that's
on.
right. That's right. Well, I'm not going to hit a girl, so these two are out.
Leave them for me.
All right. Yeah, you have to hit those two girls. On the other hand, you got to check this one out. This is. I give her credit for being stronger and more bold than what we just saw, but this is the mentality we're talking about when it comes to the protesters, these unhinged protesters against Trump. And again, this is what happens if you're not working.
To those who feel overwhelmed or tempted to stay quiet, silence will not save us. Solidarity will. You know, we're not scared. We're not scared of the idea of America coming apart, because this is our moment to fan the flames. We're here to build movements, defend our communities, and turn up the heat. So we're building a united front of everybody that has a bone to pick with Wall Street, and we're trying to build a new communist party as a weapon of the.
All right, there we go. A new communist party. That's what they're trying to build. At least these people are. But this is a common mentality against the anti-Trump crowd at this point. This is a cult. This is a true cult.
Okay, she is using an old school stand in a park in a freezing cold, trying to drum up people wearing masks. I'm not so worried about this one. All right, I don't know her name. She's got the mic. Okay, anyone can buy a mic from Amazon. We fight. Again, These guys are going away. They just don't realize it yet. I don't think they know that they just lost big time.
I mean,
But again, they
I-
got to work through the, various stages of grieving. And, this is one of the things that they have to come to. But again, give them a couple of months. They'll find a different fight. In fact, we should find a new fight for them, Chris. Let's have them, I don't know, go after pink ponies or something. Like let them chase something else. These guys need to chase something.
Oh, they're probably chasing their tails at this point, or chasing cars. Well, some of them really should be chasing cars, but that's another story for another day. Think about this. Most of these communists have these really expensive sneakers, their iPads and iPhones or whatever, and all these expensive all these expensive capitalist goods, they're going to be very upset to be without in a communist regime. And who are they going to complain to that after that? They got what they wanted.
Well, look, I'm going to start the movement of defund communists. How about we defund them? Why don't we figure out, right? Let's hashtag that on TikTok. Let's defund them and see what happens. Look, that woman looks defunded already. I mean, clearly she didn't, there was not a lot of money behind that one. We need to turn the page, you guys, only because we have new law and order in the White House. We're going to have, this is really the new dawn, right? And that's why I've been so excited and tired, because we worked effortlessly to get this guy in, and also the trifecta of getting Congress right. So we're not going to let go of this moment. This is our moment. If the haters, that you have to live with us, you have to live with all of it. We're going to be on the front page every single day, triggering you, just so you know. So you better take your meds, you guys, because we're going to be here for a while. You better sit back and sit tight.
Well, speaking of triggering, I love watching Canada's politics right now. They're in disarray. The Liberal Party's going nuts. The woman who, the front runner for Justin Trudeau's position as the leader of the Liberal Party, is the woman who quit on him just a few days before he quit. And then Pierre Poilievre, I do not pronounce French names well. Forgive me, it's Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre. He has been absolutely fantastic at trolling the leftist media in Canada. You have to check this one out. As you know, Donald Trump has issued the executive order that the federal government will be operating under the fact that there are only two genders. This way, you're not going to be able to put X or pansexual or gender fluid on whatever important government document you deal with. But the leftist media is very upset about that. They're scared. They're like, but you can't do that because there are like 300,000 genders and lots of pronouns. What are you going to do about all that? Well, this kind of happened with Pierre Poilievre. I do it again.
Do it.
This
Come on.
kind of happened with Pierre Poilievre. I'm
see.
working on this. I watch a lot of hockey. I know all this. I know how to pronounce names better than that. Anyway, here he is, just taunting and just making fun of this reporter without this reporter not even realizing it.
First day on the job, President Trump signed an executive order, the U.S. government only recognizing two genders, male, female. They're unchangeable. If elected as prime minister, is that something that you're going to kind of walk in line with, or what are your feelings on that executive order?
Well, I don't know. Do you have any other genders that you'd like to name?
Me personally?
Yes.
I'm just asking more so if you're in line with what he is saying. Do you agree with what he's saying? Is that something that you would be lockstep with if elected as prime minister?
Well,
first off, look how nervous this reporter is, because he knows that this is a stupid question, and he's trying to use words like in lockstep with and trying to make it look like, well, if Trump says something, then that means you're going to follow it. And we can use that against you when you run for when your party runs for parliament. Notice that the reporter was repeating that too. In the lockstep with, making sure that a supposedly unbiased media group, well, it's state-run media, was labeling and branding somebody as in line or basically in, as he said, lockstep with Donald Trump, no matter what he says on the way down. He was like calling him like the ripple effect, if you will.
Yeah, that's what reporters do. He's not doing a very good job at it, but that's what they do.
I'm not aware of any other genders than
I love this though.
men and women. I mean, if you have any other that you want me to consider, you're welcome to tell me right now.
Well, there's personally, I am a man. I am as people will say cis man.
Sissy man, but all right, let's go.
There are people there who, they say they're
Me too.
gender
I'm a man
neutral.
as well.
You are a man. Yes. There are people there who say they're
something in
gender
common.
neutral. Yeah. They say they're gender neutral. They're a trans person. Is that something that you would recognize here? Whereas in the States, at least with their U.S. government, the way they're seeing it, there's only two.
I'm only aware of two, but if you come up with another list, then
give me
you're
one.
welcome to do that. But I'm aware of two, and as far as I'm concerned, we should have a government that just minds its own damn business and leaves people alone to make their own personal decisions.
Oh, that right there is exactly the government's role. So make sure things run okay and tell people, hey, you know what? Just do what you want to do. We're not going to bother you, but we're also not going to bother everybody else with this garbage. We're not going to waste taxpayers' money by saying if you want to walk around and say you're a half bear, half horse, and a small portion not equaling, making sure, or maybe an extra portion pig somewhere along the line. Fine. We're not going to let you put that on an official document, though.
Well, and that's correct. And I actually really like this response because we do need to move this conversation forward. Clearly, we can't ignore it. It's been in our atmosphere and our lingo for the last couple of years. I think this is the right response. I don't know of any other genders. There are two that I know of. If you have any others, please let me know. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of talk about this. I think that's the right response. The way he handled it, he could have done so without the smirking because he is looking to run as
Oh, I love the smirking. Oh no,
You do like it?
stays. In fact, he should have been munching on an apple like he does on occasion when he does these things.
Oh, right.
Just keep the apple, make him the apple guy because learn from Trump. Troll these people. They need it. They deserve it. And basically, most of them are trolling themselves. Hey, here's another thing. The new face of the new, I guess, internet face of liberals is this baby face kid named Harry Sijan. You've seen him. He's quite off, and he's been an apologist for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for a long, long time. And that propelled him to stardom apparently on the internet. I guess. I mean, you think about it, you got guys like him, Sam Cedar and David Pakman. That's kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. So obviously, him and his cute looks have impressed I'm not even sure in the Democrat Party, but he was on Piers Morgan recently, and him and Dave Rubin, and you see Cornel West, and they're all debating over a bunch of executive orders from Donald Trump. In this particular section, Sijan and Piers Morgan had a little debate over the genders. This is fun.
Can I take?
No,
can I
hang
say
on.
something
Do you
in
think
regards to-
America has? Do you think there should be more than two genders in America?
Yeah, I don't know what that executive order means. I don't know what the president declared.
It means there are two genders, male and female. Do you disagree with that?
How many genders are there, Harry?
Yeah,
Come on,
look,
little
these
guy.
guys
How
don't
many
know what-
genders are there?
Again, these guys don't know what they're talking about, so they won't be able
Harry,
to answer.
how many genders are there?
How many genders are there, Harry?
genders are there? What's the legal? I'm gonna use Joe Biden's answers. At least two. At least two. That satisfies.
Well, how
the
many
little
more
brains you
other
guys
than
got going
male,
up in there.
female?
That's a TikTok answer.
There's at least two.
Yeah.
There's at least two.
Well, no, hang on. There's male and female.
Kid is like human.
These guys are just all over him because he's making himself look like a stupid idiot. And Cornel West is on the far right saying, you know what? Leave me out of this.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? But this is what liberalism does to you, right? Look, this guy clearly wants to be a player in the Democratic Party when he grows up and grows some facial hair, right? So he's trying to align with them. But again, the liberal talking points every single day makes fools out of people because you're in make-believe land trying to spin make-believe and make other people believe it and believe you. And they can't get out of that cycle. That's why Democrats lost so badly. And they're going to lose so badly in the midterms if they continue this nonsense. I'm not going to correct them. Let them say there are, 20,000 different genders. Why not? They can't explain themselves. They think they're hitting the mark every time they open their mouths. It's great. Let them lose more seats.
And that's a good idea because every time they meme themselves, they beclown themselves, if you will, or be meme. There we go. That's a new word. If they be meme themselves, they're going to just signal to the rest of the world or the rest of the nation how loony they are. That's why when people tell me, "Oh, I wonder when Elon Musk is going to buy MSNBC and shut them down," or "I wonder if someone's going to close the View." No, we need them. First of all, we got to keep them around for a few laughs to keep us going. And
Mhm.
secondly, these people show the world the true mentality of the far left.
Yeah, and let's not correct it at all. It is pure entertainment at this point. Clearly, voters can't even stomach them anymore. Look, we hear a lot of noise. I remember the day after the inauguration, or maybe it was no, it was the day of the inauguration. The Washington Post had a cover story about how Latinos only voted for Trump, but then they're going to run back to the Democratic Party. All right, I took a picture of it because it was so loony. All right, that
Wishful
the
thinking.
Washington Post would even print this, because how in the world did they just all of a sudden poll everybody? No, they're just writing this because they can't believe they lost to Donald Trump.
Well, they work in stereotypes too. They call us racist. They call us racist, but what happens is they actually try to lump every minority in some kind of ideological corner or ideological circle due to preconceived prejudices they have. And that, my friends, is almost the textbook definition of racist. But they're basically trying to tell you it's basically a bigoted point of view. If anything else, they have very little experience. A lot of these people sit in ivory towers. They're at their cocktail parties with each other, and they really don't have experience with white people or minorities on the ground level. But they think everybody thinks like they're told everybody thinks. They think everybody thinks like they do on television, and this is what happens.
Yeah, that's liberalism. Look, they'll always accuse you of the things that they're doing. That's my new
Right.
definition of liberalism and craziness.
And mine is liberals always making the world a better place for them to live in.
No. Well, they tried. And honestly, I think America gave them a shot the last 4 years. And look what happened. Oh, look, they raided the piggy bank and gave it to Ukraine. Oh, fun, isn't that right?
Oh, yeah. And they give it to illegals too, by the way. Here's another one. Speaking of this, another person triggered by this executive order to fix the immigration situation we have here is this one bishop woman from the special prayer service that Donald Trump, his wife, and of course Mr. and Mrs. Vance went to, and a lot of other people. This woman, an Episcopalian bishop, and her name escapes me. Not that it matters anymore. She's a hero of the left and a meme to the rest of us. Here's what she had to say, and I just want to take a portion of this. And I know we're not taking this out of context. This is what she actually said to try to lecture, to use her captive audience to lecture not only Donald Trump and JD Vance, but all of us.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in.
Okay, so basically what she's saying is all immigrants are here to wash our dishes and tend to our gardens and things like that. I'm sorry, does that sound kind of racist to you? Coming from a member of the clergy?
I've listened to this clip a couple of times since it played, and I think that she really is concerned. And I'm looking at the faces of the Trump family, and I can tell they're not just brushing her off. I mean, look, they'll listen, but at the same time, yeah, she is clearly drinking the Kool-Aid as well, right? Now, is there truth to what she's saying? Yeah, probably. And she probably feels the fear. But guess what? It's been the left that has been fear-mongering them for years. Why do they do that? It's because if you have an entire community living in fear, they're going to vote your way because they think of you as the solution to their fear that you created.
And
That's
they
what
think
she
of,
perpetuates.
right, and she was also perpetuating the stereotype that Republicans are going to take all of your rights away, and you should fear for your lives. That was a big deal back when Hillary Clinton was running. Oh, the Republicans are going to take away your rights, and it's going to be hard for trans people and gay people to be seen and have jobs or anything else like that, which is a total lie. Look, here's how I stand in all of this. There are horrible people in all of these groups. There are horrible people who are white. There are horrible people who are in each minority group. There are horrible people who are gay and horrible people who are transgender or whatever else they want to call themselves, as far as a bunch of horrible people too. There are good people in all those ranks as well. So I bring this down to the individual. But too many people on the left, and that includes probably a well-meaning clergy person like this one, whose head is filled with these fallacies. That, yeah, there you go.
And that's exactly right. Their heads are shaped a certain way. Media has clearly manipulated them. The Democratic Party has clearly manipulated them to the point where they have phobias, PTSD, and it's manifested in their bodies and their minds, and unfortunately in our children, because they talk to our children and teach our children. And this is a member who has the mic in a church, right? That's what's frightening, is that the fear is spilling over, and a lot of this fear is manufactured. How do we wake up people, Chris? I've been doing this in communities, trying to wake up people, flipping them to the red. I know, yeah, it's a party thing, but we were able to do it in Miami. We flipped it, over 10 points. And now Miami is a little bit red, not all the way. We still have to secure it a little bit more. But a lot of people are waking up to the fact that they don't have to be scared because the fear is not real. And that's what, I'm here to do, is to show them, no, it's nonsense. Come be on the common sense party. Come this way. Members, clergies of the church and other religious houses, they have a lot of pull in this. So how do we get them to see the way and not continue the fear? I don't know. I think it might take a generation.
It could take 2 or 3 generations. Remember, it took about 100 or so years to reach their, let's just say, cultural Marxist peak, which I believe that's where they are right now. The far left is at a cultural Marxism peak at this point, but it was 100 years in the making, all back from the Gramsci toilet paper manifesto from prison to now. Anyway, we talked about the dork of the week last week. We did that. We had one of those. Here's another one. I'm going to give you the dork of the week this week. And this has to do with the January 6th prisoners, political prisoners being released. Remember that kid that snitched on his father a couple years ago? The one that called the feds on his father.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Well, this guy's the dork of the week, and apparently CNN gave this jerk airtime. You got to watch this. It's right. I mean, I cannot fathom why CNN would give somebody like this some airtime unless they really love snitches. Apparently, if they support Ted Walls, I guess they all love snitches and people like that. But somebody who'd sell out his own father over just being at a place that the kid didn't like.
Up front now is Jackson Reffitt. He turned his father, Guy Reffitt, into the FBI for participating in the insurrection. And Guy Reffitt is currently in prison, serving a 6.5-year sentence for rioting at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. So obviously convicted and serving his sentence. Jackson, I appreciate your time. So here we are, and Trump is announcing pardons for January 6th defendants. That this could include your father, who's serving a 6-year sentence, a 6.5-year sentence as we speak. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm honestly flabbergasted that we've gotten to this point. I mean, I'm terrified. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've taken as many precautions as I could recently.
First off, kid, you should be terrified. You sold out your own father.
This guy's going to get a beating when the father gets home.
He should be embarrassed. This kid's proud of doing what he did because he thinks he's fighting for the cause. But did he think his father wasn't coming out of jail? does he not think that people are going to look at him like, well, what are you, a moron? The guy just showed up to a place that the far left didn't like, and you just let this guy get thrown in prison as a political hostage of the Biden administration, just because you wanted to pat yourself on the back and look good in front of people who you idolize, and get a little congrats from them.
This kid's clearly so confused, right? His brain has clearly been stirred up by lots of liberal talking points. I really do believe that he thinks he did the right thing. That's the scary part. But you know what? Like a true liberal, he doesn't think 2 chess moves ahead. His father's coming home. Trump just pardoned 1,500 J6ers. They're all slowly getting released this week. We saw Enrique Torito, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, get released
we're really
Miami.
bad at this pronunciation thing, aren't we? This is not good.
We're
For us.
terrible.
Oh, my
And we
gosh.
should know better because we're broadcasters. There's actually a website that helps you pronounce foreign names. I had to go on it every morning when I had to do the international news. I was like,
I remember that.
"Oh."
Yep, Associated Press. Every day you're looking at the we before you do your reads, you're looking at the pronunciations. Like, oh my gosh, I hope I got this right. I still never forget when we learned that Qatar was pronounced Qatar back in the 90s. And all I was thinking was, funny thing is if Qatar ever left OPEC, right, and then came back, all the other nations would be saying, "Welcome back, Qatar."
Yeah, no, it's hard. And again, if we had our teleprompters, it'd probably be spelled out, but we're not that prissy on this show. But yeah, we'll work on the names, Chris. I'll spend the whole week working out all the names that we have to say on this show.
Right. But of course,
quite a few.
the media, of course, also called Tario Enrique Tario, a white supremacist, apparently. So that's what the media calls him. But let's keep in mind, they also forget a lot of things too. You might remember 4 years ago. Well, let's say 4 years after Joe Biden's last minute 11th hour preemptive pardons. Preemptive pardons. These are pardons for his family, fellow criminals from the J6 committee, treasonous types like Adam Schiff and Dr. Fauci.
Mm-hmm.
These are preemptive pardons for crimes they might have done during a 10-year span. And he was just going on and patting himself on the back over these things, taking criticism from our side. But I remember 4 years ago when Donald Trump said he wouldn't do such things, the media still made it a big deal. And there were other people that made a big deal as well, including this guy.
The president seems intent on filling each of his remaining days in office with petulance, grievance, self-interest. The president's reportedly asking his staff about whether he can whether he can issue. President's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no.
No. Okay, Chuck. No. No preemptive pardons. They're horrible and they should never happen. You're right. They shouldn't. But there's somebody else that also said this would never happen under his own administration as well.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons.
Isn't the internet wonderful? These people,
that's painful.
The receipts are kept. They're counting on people forgetting that anybody said anything like what Chuck Schumer and former President Joe Biden said a few years ago.
I'm looking forward to the Trump administration doing some of the audits. Trump's already put out a bunch of executive orders auditing the Ukraine money and other things. We're going to see why a lot of these guys received a pardon when they weren't convicted of any crimes yet.
Well, keep in mind,
pointing where they are.
Burdock versus U.S. 1915. It's a Supreme Court decision that said if you accept the pardon, that is equal to an admission of guilt.
Well, we're going to explore that. And Pam Bondi in the DOJ is looking through a lot of files right now. I bet we're going to see a whole bunch of stuff coming out in the next couple of days. I was so excited to see that they're going to be releasing the JFK files. I can't wait for that. The JFK and RFK files are going to be finally in the public domain.
Yes, and we'll be talking about that very much as well. I want to thank all of you here on the Prime Roast, or in the Roast Nation, if you will, for joining us today. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and anything else like that. There's also a red bell if you're watching on YouTube. You can hit that to get notices that we put a new show up or some new shorts. Always fun there. Check us out.
Thank you guys. And yeah, enjoy the new presidency. We're going to have a lot of fun in future episodes talking about it. He's going to bring a lot of entertainment to our show, Chris.